am Lynn, and this was a really cute reading. I enjoyed this topic a lot, and I'm calling it, Where Did They Put the Poop? And so let me go on with this here. It says, I have a question for the Christmas challenge, which I love. You guys, you rose to the occasion, and you sent me so many great requests. I love it. My goal was to make things a little more positive and lighthearted and fun, but yet really cool and interesting as we end up 2022. So this person, in keeping with the higher vibrational theme, they said, let's look at poop. So I move forward here, and what they went on to say is it has a higher vibration than the powers that were, right? And yes, I would say so. They're about the bottom of the totem pole here, so I would definitely say poop's a little higher than them. So let's go for it, right? So there's an amazing channel on YouTube called Mind Unveiled, and I'm very familiar with this channel. I've seen some videos that are very interesting there. They deal with a lot of unsolved historical and esoteric mysteries in this video. In this one in particular, they talk about the water systems and the waste management in the old world, or Tartaria, which I'm very much a believer of here. They point out the question of why palaces and huge, beautiful cities like London have magnificent, amazing water systems that powered fountains and public baths, but there's no drainage or waste management led to it. So this led to a huge poop problem as people moved into these empty cities and buildings in the 1700s. For example, the Palace of Versailles in France has 700 rooms, more than 2,000 windows, 1,250 fireplaces, and was built without bathrooms. Who built these cities and structures? Were they human? How was the waste managed? And what was life like when these places were in their glory days? Thanks so much. So, great question, right? Where is all the poop? So, I wanted to look at this and to see what would come through. And as I think on these magnificent places, these gorgeous buildings, historic monuments, etc., castles, churches, I got they were never meant for people. They were not built for people to live in. The Tartarians built these to power nearby cities. They were the electric grid and not meant to be lived in. During the Tartarian time, these steeples, chimney systems, cone-shaped towers, all of that, they were funnels to extract electrons from the atmosphere. They were not meant to have people living in them. That's why they're made of specific brick and metal, and I get if they tested them and did experiments, they'd see that they're actually conductors of electricity. I see the structures, they have corridors and hallways, but those are more for maintenance. Essentially, these buildings were like a huge battery fueling nearby cities, and I get in their time, they glowed and they were filled with static charge. It was kind of like how we have Wi-Fi now, but that was how they did electricity, being in the proximity of it. So you know how you go in and you have your Wi-Fi and your phone works? Well, electricity worked like that then. If you were close to a structure, you were able to get and extract whatever power you needed to control whatever your device was. People of Tartarian times, they knew how to extract all of that for their daily needs and for their device or what they were doing. Even older fireplaces with the metal rods, they weren't meant for fire. These were the way that many homes were able to get power, and the rods worked like a battery. If you ever have seen those rods at the bottom of old-fashioned ancient fireplaces, it was more like this battery system. It was the newer civilization that made the assumption that they were for fire. And I get an image of this person, and they're just shaking their head about how we have completely misunderstood this technology. You have these gorgeous structures, and we're putting fire and burning things in them. Convenient, yes. Did it make sense for our times and what we needed it for? Yes, maybe so. But they were meant for something so much more grand than what we ended up doing. The powers that were, they took over thinking they knew best, and they led us completely astray because that just made sense to them then, and it stuck. Just like so many other things and so many other stuff that they tell us, it just sticks. Now, I get that the waterways and the fountains were how electric was delivered to other areas in cities. Why do you think the word city is an electricity? Because that's where the power was, the electric city. The cities, that's what they were. That's why these big structures are in these city kind of places. Electricity. Okay, water is conductive and used as transmission lines, and I hear that is why water flows in a current. You hear current with electricity? Well, current is in water also because it was how it flowed. fountains and baths, they were not to be used for that. It was used to have electricity flow from the city to city in the form of electricity. I know I'm getting tongue-tied, but I hope that my point is coming across here. Back in Tartarian times, I get that people were able to recycle their waste and use it in farming and all kinds of things. There was some kind of a device that would chop fodder and allow it to compost, and it was some sort of aeration system, something like that. And here it wasn't necessary to devote a whole huge infrastructure to waste removal. I then heard that people didn't eat the way that we eat now, and waste wasn't as toxic to the environment. So part of what we eat and we waste is all working full cycle here. It's because of our diet, pharmaceuticals and things like that, it makes our waste toxic. Whereas back then, I'm not saying that you necessarily want it right at your back door, but you were able to recycle it in a different manner to make it useful versus you need to get rid of it. I then hear that finding a way to recycle waste back to the earth was viewed more as a way of like completing a cycle of life, I guess, because things were more natural and organic back then. It's just a different time, people, food system, all that. And that was really all I got for this reading, but wow, did I think that was really cool how some of this stuff came through. So by all means, please drop a line, tell me your thoughts. I'm sure there's other parallels between electricity and city and currents and all those other words that we use in daily language that we don't know where they came from, truly came from. I will leave you with that, and I look forward to your comments. I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.